It's a very warm welcome into the forum where we preview the best races with our best experts. And of course, we've got the first Group 1 to look forward to out of the Hawke's Bay Carnival over the 1400 metres, the weight for age, the Tarzino. And we bring in our experts. We'll start with Leith Innes. And Leith, as a jockey, how much do you look forward to the Hawke's Bay Carnival?
Yeah, morning, Pip. It's just one of those meetings, it's a group day, big fields, good jockeys, and it's just a shame that we're going to be running on a heavy 10.
And on track with you will be Bevan Sweeney. Bevan will bring you in. And of course, we've got Brendan Popwell with us as well today. And you must be looking forward, Bevan, to getting back on track and checking out these horses in the flesh.
Yeah, it's always a great day. It's sort of the signal that we get to look towards the very good horses stepping out, and maybe we do form on slightly better track conditions. Unfortunately, this time, Pip, it's not going to be the case. So I just spoke with Richard Fenwick. It won't improve from a heavy 10, and if we don't get the rain that's forecast Friday and Saturday, it's going to be very, very holding. So form is a little bit difficult in that sort of state, but it is what it is. And of course, the first Group 1, it should be a great match race.
Oh, absolutely, it should be. As we head to Brendan Popwell, well, it might not be that bad with the weather up in the winterless north. Ruakaka, Brendan, you've got the 9-race program to look forward to.
Yeah, certainly, and what a day it will be there as well, because we do have the highlight of Sharp and Smart stepping out first up. It's currently at $1.85, and some really big missions across the Tasman, likely for that horse who's had a couple of good trials. So we'll talk more around that particular race meeting, but yeah, all the eyes will no doubt be on that first Group 1, the Tarzino Trophy out of Hawke's Bay. Well, let's have a look what's coming up for you on the form. We'll check out the agenda, and we will, of course, be starting with the feature preview. It is the Tarzino Trophy. Then we'll be heading up to the north with BP and checking out Ruakaka. Lethal Combination, some more trial stars to have a look at. The preview, the Hawke's Bay 3-year-olds, the undercard at Hawke's Bay, the Racetracker, and our best bets for the weekend, where hopefully we can find you a winner or two. Time to preview the feature out of the Hawke's Bay. It is the Group 1 Tarzino Trophy over the 1400 metres at weight for age. And Bevan Sweeney, you will be on track. Generally, we get a slow track around this time of the year at this first day of the carnival. What can we expect on Saturday?
Heavy 10, Pip, and wet is what I've been told out of the bay from Richard this morning. A pent was 5, 4.6 is when it clicks into that heavy 9. Won't be doing that even if it is fine. I think we're looking for some rain actually to loosen up these track conditions, and it is forecast Friday and Saturday. There have been some early bets that are in play come the running of the Tarzino on Saturday. Here they are, Imperatriz. You could have got on at 4s if you were good enough. 1,000 at 4, 6 at 4. La Creek, she's fresh up. She's had 5 at 6, 3 at 6, 2 at 7. Helena Baby, well, if you got the 21s, I think you're doing okay. 500 there, and Spring Tide to win around about $10,000. Here is the market. Imperatriz is at $1.50. She's short La Creek at $4. And then we have Helena Baby at $12. Spring Tide at $15. But it is all about $1.50. Now, the speed map is always imperative, and Leith, as I come to you, generally we do the speed map, but day number 1 at the Bay, they generally go quicker than we think.
Yeah, exactly, Bevan. In this race, over the years, it's been pretty much a speed race. It's going to be a little bit different on this heavy 10, but I still think there's enough speed in the race where everyone's going to find a decent spot.
And so you see them all sitting there. Obviously, barrier number 9 for Imperatriz. We saw her in the Foxbridge. She got up outside the speed. Yeah,
I think Opie's going to land just outside. Well, if the track's really heavy, he'll be outside La Creek. If not, he'll be in the trail.
And Bevan, we're having a look at the Foxbridge, and exactly, she's on the outside here. Heavy 10 handling the track conditions.
Well, that's the key. She can, can't she? We thought maybe not at Te Rapa. Well, that's about the biggest maybe not that I've ever seen. She just was drinking different oxygen or breathing different oxygen. She just said, absolutely, see you later. So the 2 horses behind her, can they beat her off this? No, absolutely not. So if she handles a holding track condition at Hastings, and everything she's shown me is that she can, she's just got to be the one to beat, doesn't she, Leith? I know $1.50 short in a Group 1, but she proved there at the Foxbridge that she can handle off track conditions, and she's got runs in her legs.
Yeah, if there was going to be a question mark going into Foxbridge, it was the heavy track, and she proved that she can actually run on a heavy track. I know she's a better horse on a firm track, but I just can't see her getting beat. She's hard fit. It's a Group 1 race, onwards and upwards for her.
And second favourite currently is La Creek. She's the horse that didn't go through the Foxbridge. She's currently coming into this with no races, Bevan, but she has had a nice trial at Taupo where she won it quite comfortably off the front.
But seeing the video of her work on, was it Tuesday morning with A-Rob, where she ran 36 home on a heavy track condition, you've got to say she's flying, and she is the horse that Imperatrice has to beat. However, does Katrina and the team really want to have a gutbuster over 1,400 metres on a very wet track condition with what is in front of her? I think that wouldn't be a perfect scenario for Le Creek. She may have or be on the same level as Imperatrice as the season does develop, but she's into this race freshly on a tough track condition with plenty in front of her. Look, I know Katrina's a wonderful trainer, but the fact that Imperatrice has a couple more runs in her legs just makes me think that La Creek might just be on the back foot on Saturday.
Yeah, she's definitely not going to go in here underdone because it'll only hurt the horse. So she's going to be fit enough to run 1,400. It's going to be a bit of a test for her, but I find this race is a bit of a stepping stone for her. We all know how classy she is, but if it was a handicap race, she'd be receiving 5.5 kilos off Imperatrice.
The horse has had a little bit of specking in the market as well as Helena Baby and Bevan Sweeney. We talk about some of these wanting a better track. He'll certainly relish the conditions.
Well, he's the upsetter in the race, isn't he? Because we know where he's going to be. He's going to be sitting outside Rose and Power, and if La Creek and Imperatrice get into a little bit of trouble and behind them, which shouldn't really happen in a field like this with Opie Bosson aboard, he's going to skip clear and maybe put a couple of lengths on them, but it's just whether he can hold on. We know he'll handle the track conditions. If the rail is playing strongly and he gets to that sort of position, then he's going to be in a very, very good position. So he deserves to have a little bit of money on him. Do I think he has the true X factor of the other two? No. But we know he handles the track conditions, Leith, and he's going to be in the right spot to take advantage of things if they go wrong back in the field for the other two.
Yeah, exactly, Bevan. He's an 8-year-old gelding, so he's going to be really hard fit for this race. He's race fitness. He's got the perfect draw to park outside the leader. And like you said, if there was going to be an upset, it probably would be him.
We've got a $1.50 favourite in the Tarzino, Leith, so we'll start with you. You've got her on top, but how can we make some money? Is there other moves in this race?
There could be. I'd be backing around maybe Helena Baby to run the first four on a really heavy track, but yeah, outside the favourite, it's a pretty open race.
What about you, Bevan Sweeney? You're with Imperatrice on top, and what are you liking underneath?
Yeah, definitely Imperatrice is the one to beat. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Until she says to me she can't, she will be the winner in my particular mind going forward. Outside of that, look, with the speed in this race, and if they're going to keep going at a good tempo, I'm quite keen on having a little bit on Dark Destroyer to run in the top four. We know the horse handles off track conditions. I know he's looking for further down the line, but he's a winner at 1,400 metres, and if they run this at strong tempo, it'll run like a mile. So he might just be one to flick into a top four bet in this year's Tarzino.
And of course, it'll all unfold. Tabby Trackside 1, race number 9, out of the Hawke's Bay at 4:28. We head up north to Ruakaka for our second meeting on Saturday. 9-race card, and Brendan Popwell, we bring you in. What weather and track conditions can we expect, and maybe get an improved track?
Yeah, look, we will. Compared to what we have at Hawke's Bay, we will have the track conditions sitting in that soft 5 bracket at the moment. They've had some very good sun there, as we sort of normally get there in the winterless north, as it's called, out of Ruakaka. One notable thing we need to make here around the running rail, it is out 8 metres, and it was back in the 3-metre position last time to the races, so it's gone out to 8 metres now for our race meeting here this weekend. But look, should be a great day, Pip. I think there's a lot of horses to look out for, and those that are looking for the better track conditions.
And one of those horses to look out for, Brendan, is Sharp and Smart, of course, going around in the 1,400 metre 3-year-old race here at $1.85. Stony Breck at 4.8, listed winner already, and was really nice in the JJ Atkins finishing 4th.
It's not just a turn-up and win job for Sharp and Smart. It should be a great little kick-off point for him, as he has a number of options heading towards different races on both sides of the Tasman. Look, he's nominated for a Livermore. He's also nominated for a 2,000 Guineas. But then you also look at what he's got in front of him with a possible campaign across the Tasman. Spring Champion Stakes, Caulfield Guineas. Hey, what about Cox Plate and Melbourne Cup as well, just in case for Sharp and Smart. So they've got their options wide open with him, and with how he performed in the Brisbane winter, I think you can understand it. Look, he was a horse who was terrific in the listed Phoenix and then ran 4th in the JJ Atkins. off the back of his Champagne Stakes victory out of Counties. Let's have a look at one of his trials, and this was his most recent trial out at Taupō when he finished into third position. It was an on-speed trial with our alley cat who jumped to the front. And look, he was doing his best work through the line to be able to finish into third position over a distance of 1,100 metres. So he's going to take a lot from his two trials. He ran on the inside circuit of Te Rapa and then that particular trial out of Taupō. Let's go back to that venue too for the race meeting on the 24th of August. Cognito, big win this. Piper's Fling took off around horses and really injected some tempo into the race, and Cognito was back and then wide and really powered up down the outside. Narajan Palmer rode on this occasion, and he rides race day as well to get that weight down to a quote of 54 kilograms. So he was really good to the eye with what he's been able to do to draw in Piper's Fling. I also did like the run of Stony Breck on the same day. I thought Stony Breck brought a really good form reference because he was good on the poly over a distance of 970 metres, then went up to 1,400 metres and bumped into Fellini. And of course, Fellini, as we know from a 2-year-old preparation, was close up in a Karaka million. So Stony Breck has to be a big danger. And with Sharp and Smart, he's $1.85. He gets weight relief and he's trialled well and everything going well. He will then be off across the Tasman, you'd imagine. A couple I'd want to just keep on side. Tawi, runner number 6, might be a nice little sneaky top 3, top 4. Good run first up to the races in that first race on Foxbridge Plate Day. When hitting the line into third position, we see this horse on a better track on the weekend. Just might be a good sneaky for trifectas and first fours.
Another feature on the program as well, Brendan, is the Harcourt's Fillies and Mares over the mile. Nice race this with $60,000. Spirit of Baz heads the betting at 3.30. Silverina unbeaten on the track, currently at 3.8. And Waimuku Falls at $4.80. Spirit of Baz, Brendan, very good last time in the Matamata Cup.
She's a horse that has good potential. She is a runner that showed good ability last season, should I say. Now let's go back to this run on a testing heavy 10 surface. She doesn't have that on the weekend. She'll be on a soft 5. This was a run where she sat in the trailing spot and Sea Jets just came over the top and was just a touch more ready maybe than Spirit of Baz. But what you will get out of this is a horse that should be ready to go second up. She has a second up record. She's a horse who's won in that state previously. Kelsey Hannon aboard, who's riding really well. Both Kelsey Hannon and Taylor Mitchell are riding well for apprentices in the northern region. Is drawn in barrier number 9, but the horse does have that tactical speed. And sort of just going through some of these runners that are drawn inside of Spirit of Baz, that best way maybe to overcome the wide barrier draw is to be positive with that weight relief with Kelsey Hannon aboard. So I like her chances a lot, Spirit of Baz, second up. Keen to have a look at Waimoku Falls now. Now this is the run out of Taupō on the 24th of August, a horse that, again, should be a quick improver from this run over 1,300 metres to go up to 1,600 metres. You can see the horse in the Go Racing colours doing all its best work late through the line to finish into 6th position over the 1,300 metres. The better surface will also help her chances with Waimoku Falls. And Silverina, well, Silverina has performed at the North in her last 2 starts. Just hugged the rail here and it all opened up beautifully for Taylor Mitchell, and it meant that she was in the clear a long way from home and was able to extend down the straight and won this race by a margin of 2 lengths. So it's gone from maiden to rating 65 and now rockets up to a rating 82 Fillies and Mares. So that's just the one question mark, but they go back to a venue where the horse has been successful at her last 2 starts, and Silverina and Kosiasano and Shane Crawford will be the combination on the weekend. I keep looking at this race though, Pip, and I keep coming back to Spirit of Baz. I like the fact that she's she has form second up. She was a good quality performer last season. She's well bred. The barrier draw of 9 might be that sticky point, but as I said, leading around this runner with Kelsey Hannon aboard and those 3 kilos coming off, they might be looked to be positive, and we've seen her when she's positive. This particular mare, she can be very hard to peg back. So she currently sits at 3.30 and happy to be with Spirit of Baz.
And that race is race number 6 at 2.58, available on Tiabi Trackside 1, with the first kicking off at 12.05. It's that time on the form, our Racetrackers, horses and dogs to follow throughout the week and throughout the spring. And we'll start with you, Leith. Where are you heading?
I had a text from Chris Waller yesterday. I just said, what's the go with Fangirl? You know, I've tipped her out in Trackside. And he's told me that look, she had a real nice quiet trial last week, early in the week, sorry. And her plan is she's going to run in the George May Stakes next Saturday. She's going to be taking on Animo at weight for age. And then she's going to have a 2-week turnaround to the Epsom Handicap. And look, his comments were that when she ran second in the Winx Stakes to Animo, she's not fully matured yet, but he seems to think that she's a Group 1 weight for age horse in 6 months' time.
I'm going to go with a horse out of the big award recipient at the awards one, Kevin Myers. It is nominated for Saturday now. This is a $30,000 race on the synthetic, and I know that they thought they'd be winning this, but gee, just ran out of room. It was a nightmare watch, to be fair, under Ryan. He went to the line untested. Look, he might not run tomorrow or on Saturday if the rain comes, because I don't think he's a wet tricker. But I think this is Kevin's best flat horse outside of his New Zealand Cup entrance, which will be maybe LJ, who runs in the first. Monterani was really good in a return. It might not be Saturday with Kapua, but he really is a horse to follow.
All right, well, let's go to the trials for me, Bevan. I'm going to go to the trials out of Matamata. They had 2 trials before the race day, and I really did like the trial of Achieve. She sat outside leader here in this trial and just basically had the handbrake on. This is a horse that looked very good last season. When you go through her 3-year-old preparation, she ran 5th in the Oaks. She was placed in the Sunline Vase, placed in an Ellis Classic, ran 5th in the 3-year-old Kadaka Million Classic and 2nd in a Eulogy. Likelihood for her, maybe in terms of a long-term goal, is a race like the Copelands. Lovely trial from her. Didn't mind Defibrillate finishing 3rd as well in the particular trial, who's on a path towards a Liver Mile, but Achieve for mine, one to follow for the spring.
And I'm sticking with Lisa Cole's kennel again. A little greyhound coming back to the races. Her name, Allegro Ginny. She's very talented. She won the Waikato Classic at Restricted Age Company. This is her back in May. This is her last start. She's in the pink rug. First look at Addington Raceway. An ultra strong field here. She makes up a stack of ground. And look at the way she hits the line. She comes up with the Ace Alley on Friday. She may just need the run, but I certainly think she'll be running right in the top 3. And a very, very nice greyhound to follow right throughout the spring and the summer. I think she'll be popping up in some key races. So here's a summary of the horses and dogs for you to follow, and hopefully we can build you a little bank throughout this week and the spring. On the undercard at Hawke's Bay, we've got some black type on offer for the 3-year-olds, and we'll start with the Al Rocker, Sir Colin Meads, and this is a really nice race here over the 1,200 metres listed level. Dynastic, Fellini, Pierre, Lord Cosmos, all kept safe in the market. And Bevan Sweeney, as we head to you, what a field with the Te Akau trio all being stakes placed.
Yeah, and what a puzzle, actually, Pip, with the prevailing track conditions that we will have on Saturday around these particular horses. But we know Dynastic took out the Karaka Million last season. Fellini was very good in the same race as well, but look, it's very hard to get an accurate line on him because he was obviously pushed to get there, and then he went around in the Group 1 at Ellerslie. He was just a little bit short. He got knuckled on the line by Lickety Spit. There was no disgrace there, and then it was a very, very average effort down in the size produce at Manawa 2. He's a tough horse. You have to wind into him to get him to really concentrate and get to the line. That was okay, this trial, for what is to come. That was the second of his trials, so he should be forward enough. And look, he doesn't look uncomfortable in those heavy track conditions, but he's a question mark at 270 on a heavy 10. Let's have a quick look at Fellini. Don't mind this horse. I think this horse is going really nicely through the back end of last preparation. Fresh Up was very, very good when winning at Taupo. Just came out into the centre, hands and heels, went past Alabama Gold on this occasion. And a horse I really like going forward. It's probably the one I would prefer out of the Te Akau runners. Track conditions again, well, who would know really? Hasn't been out on a track condition like this to this point. But nice effort. Lord Cosmos, he's a tough little horse. So he is the sort of horse that might just pop up here or get back on a decent sort of speed. We see him here. He sort of travelled up and didn't quite go on with it. He's a little professional. He's short, stout, so he probably can clip through these track conditions. But 1,200 metres is probably short of his best, but you're taking the fact that he'll run like 14 at a big wide open track like Hastings, and he should be hitting the line very, very strongly. You see Pacific Dragon there as well, and Lickety Split outside. So they're nice horses he's running against, and he kept on finding the line quite nicely. He's at the outside price of the Te Akau runners, so I'm not 100% sure which way to go with them. Probably the value is around Lord Cosmos with a couple of runs under his belt and a run on off-track conditions. And it's quite taken by Pierre, but look, he ran 36 home, this horse. He won't be running 36 home for the last 600 metres at Hastings on Saturday. These track conditions weren't overly bad. He looked a little bit uncomfortable, but this is his debut effort, so he is learning all the time. He managed to take the run through on the inside, and he did really extend quite nicely, but maybe an action that possibly would be better preferred on better track conditions. If there was one I was going to pull out of the hat for you in this particular race, Duncan Creek should have got very, very close to Soph Mace on a wet track condition in black type at his most recent run. He was a very good winner on off track at Otaki, trained by one Felix Campbell, who is a very, very good trainer. I think with the prevailing track conditions, he's the place bet in the race. But I don't know about you, Leith, but I found it very, very difficult to work out which Te Akau runner and what runner outside of that to really be pushing to the punters. Yeah,
Bevan, like you said, it is a puzzle. It's a tough race. I think you'd have to think race day form's going to come into this to play. Dynastic was just okay on a wet track. He looks like, firmer tracks really his cup of tea. Fellini, I like sort of Lord Cosmos. He's a really honest sort of horse, and if you're going to have a play, I'd say Lord Cosmos each way.
So make sure you check out those markets. And another race that we have got to look forward to is for the 3-year-old fillies over the 1,200 metres. A race, of course, where Imperatriz ran third in this last year in the Gold Trail Stakes. And this time it's headed by Pacific Dragon at 3:30. Sans Dute's bestseller, Bevan. Interesting market here at $4, having beaten the second favourite last start.
Yeah, there's some talent, isn't there, in here. Pacific Dragon is coming to the end of his preparation. He's been back 3.3, just now gets the track condition, so there's no reason why not. Draw's probably going to be a perfect spot by this point of the day, race number 7. Pacific Dragon I don't think is going to be heading down south after this sort of preparation, but there's plenty that will be, and bestseller out wide was best here. It was a very good performance against Patton, really, at Taupo. Sans Dute was also very, very good, and a horse has looked like it just swims at the trials in the 2 reviews I did last night under Opie Boston. So that sends Dute down towards the inside, and this is bestseller rounding them up, and was around some very good company last season as well, and she's pricking her ears and making it look pretty easy at the line, so she's got to be a major player in this particular race. Let's go back to Pacific Dragon at Ruakaka now. We saw this replay just a little while ago, and of course sort of had to work to get there on this occasion. Travelled up nicely, then was a little bit green in the straight. Going back this way of going, they might just run a little bit straighter, but it's mapping for me to find the lead, and I just can't see any real pressure coming from many horses in this particular race. So I think Sans Dute does get its back, and if it gets that sort of position, I think they're going to really go toe-to-toe in the run to the line on this. So just see her wobbling around that way of going, and the rider had to change hands, Cosi Asano, to sort of get Pacific Dragon to run straight, and Lickety Split just was completely professional and a very, very good horse. And Hanalei might be one to follow. This is a performance at Trentham. Now, this is sparkling on this day. Clearly, the track conditions are not going to be anything like this on Saturday at Trentham, but this wasn't a bad little field, and the way that she quickened up that real strong lead action with that front leg, and she put them away nicely in a very nice race at Trentham, albeit a long time and further into the summer. Just love her action. She's a daisy clipper, so what she does on Saturday, she will do a lot more as she gets onto the better track conditions. But look, I was trying to make up my mind behind around Sans Dute and Pacific Dragon, Leith. I think I'll go Pacific Dragon, albeit coming to the end of its preparation probably, in Sans Dute with a big spec out of the Mark Walker stable. Do you see it any different?
Yeah, I can't go past the 1 and 2, Pacific Dragon and bestseller. I think probably if Michael McNabb hadn't gone on holiday, I think he would have won on Pacific Dragon, to be fair. It wasn't one of Cosie's better rides. And if she had a win next to her name instead of that second, I think she'd be probably a little bit shorter than she is.
And of course that race is a great lead into the Hawke's Bay Guineas, the last day of the carnival, and you can check out the futures markets. They are open on tab.co.nz if you want to try grab a nice price before they get underway on Saturday. We're back with the lethal combinations. Leith's been out and about at the trials and picking a few out for us that have caught his eye. Leith, who was the first one to catch that eye of yours?
Yeah, Pip, I like the 3 heats from a heavy 10 at Taronga the other day. The first one is Legato. She's had 1 start for 1 win. And look, they didn't run much time in this race, but obviously she was in need of the trial a little bit, but she really toted Ryan Elliott to the winning post late in the piece, and she's going to be running on a race at Te Rapa on the 30th of September.
And then in the very next heat, a 3-year-old filly from Te Akau took your eye.
Yeah, this filly's been trialling really well, Stella Sabindo. She's had 4 trials now, and she's carried a bit of weight here with Opie on board, but I think she's earmarked to go to Taupo on the 16th of September, and I really think this horse is a good filly in the making.
And you saved the best to last, and that's a really good wrap after having a look at these 2 trials.
Yeah, this horse was super. He ran the fastest 900 metres of the day. Denby Road, owned by one and only Mr. George Simon. He bred her. It's out of a half-sister to Turn Me Loose. And mate, this horse he's a big boy, and they've been offered a fair bit of money from Hong Kong. And if he's still in the country, he'll be running on the 21st at Matamata. He's definitely one to watch.
Man, he's a good-looking horse, isn't he? I can just hear the inflection in George's voice there too when calling him. There's 3 horses for you to put down in the little black book out of the trials.
Then we've got Big Time Katie, Hint of Mint, Last Beer, Siddiqui Bale, Screaming Viking, Able Master in front. Big Time Prada with a challenge the outside. Able Master and Prada. Able Master just on Big Time Prada.
Boarding Call going to Sagwich, who's still got the nose in front. This is going to be close. Boarding Call, though, gets there where it matters. Boarding Call won it from Sagwich.
YOLO over on the outside's got it now. Rosalicious coming through with Tremor, and hey, but YOLO to the line, too good.
Very Flash, the winner of 10 on the flat, has the lead, though DCS won't go away. Very Flash inclined to run the last down, but the pace on the flat is the telling factor. And going to the line, Very Flash in those very famous colours wins it.
Mr. Brightside at the 150, 2.5 lengths in front of Spanish Mission Inspirational Girl, but Mr. Brightside put pay to them and is race clear, and Mr. Brightside won it 4 lengths.
It's not a bad weekend with some best bets rolling on home, and hopefully we can find you some more winners this weekend. We'll start with you, Lethanis. So where are you heading?
I'm going to go to race 9, number 6, Espinosa. Keep an eye on the track. The better the track, the faster she's going to come home. But she's been trolling up super, and I think she's in for a really good campaign this year.
Right, nice one. Let's mark that one down. For me, I'm going to go to Ruakaka, last race on the program. Really like Cake by the Ocean. This horse performs well at this venue. Beaten last time to the races over 1,400 metres on a heavy surface, but still ran on well into 4th position. Yuto Kamagai takes 3 kilos off the back to get down to 56 kilograms. Cake by the Ocean for mine in race number 9 on the weekend.
I'm taking you to Sunday out of Waverley, where I actually think there's a lot of really nice horses going around that may be at the bay for day number 2. Banana Rama for Sam Lennox. Lisa Allpress in the pink jacket here. A horse that was really strongly spec'd at its debut. Look, if it's heavy 9 or better, it will be winning, but get in early because the Crowley boys like a bet.
And I'm heading for a greyhound in the last race tomorrow night at Palmerston North, or tomorrow afternoon. Her name's Siddiqui Bale. She's now had a look at the track when contesting the Class 5 feature heats last weekend. She drops a grade. She's now had a look at the track. This is her in the red rug. I find she's more comfortable off the rail. She just checked off heels there. You can see her pushing out a little bit wider. And look at the way she hits the line. She'll step over the 375, comes up with box number 6. I think she's a grading special in the last there for visitors. Craig Roberts from the south, and here is a summary of the best of our weekend. The Whale with Muscle Mountain as well, meeting code 8, race number 5. Justin Evans is with Malulaba at race 2, meeting code 6, and then the rest of them there. Note them down, and hopefully we can have a really good weekend once again. Thanks very much to Letha and Brendan and Bevan for joining us, and make sure you tune into all the action. Punters Lounge, 10:30 a.m, kicking it off on Trackside 1.